Hello and welcome to another one of the series of videos we've put together from the Project Academy to help you lead through COVID-19. Now this video is going to focus on a really important aspect of leadership right now, linked to our own personality. Our personality tends to be pretty stable, but our behavior can flex. And so really a key message out of this video is, in what way may your personality be helping you and hindering you in your leadership role during COVID-19? Now I'm going to take you through a model on personality which is linked to what is referred to as the Big 5 personality traits. These are the traits that tend to have agreement across the psychology world as being almost independent circuits within the brain that link to our personality. And the interesting thing about the Big 5 is that they actually are motivational centers in their own right. In a sense, they are scanning the environment, and these 5 facets of our personality all sometimes want a different say at different times. In which case, what we've got to be aware of is that certain aspects of our personality react to the environment around us, while others may withdraw. And so what you may find is different aspects of the Big 5 personality traits come into play in different situations right now during COVID-19. So, what are these Big 5 traits? Well, there's a nice little acronym that goes with them called OCEAN, and the 5 relate to, and they're on the screen here, is openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And just a little point on neuroticism. Neuroticism is not any kind of mental disorder. Everybody has a protection mechanism within them that's linked to this thing called trait neuroticism. And that helps us to protect ourselves and be concerned about our well-being. So let's go through each of these, and I'll give you some thoughts around them, how they may be helping or hindering you during this COVID-19 leadership challenge that we have. Now, all of the Big 5 measure from low through to high. They're basically on a continuum. And wherever you are on that continuum, it doesn't really matter, because different situations require different aspects of our personality. We're not measuring level like IQ, which can be a higher score is better. With the Big 5, it doesn't really matter where you are where you are, and it'll help and it'll hinder you in different circumstances. Now, if you want to know more about, say, your Big 5 or other aspects of personality, do get in touch, because this video is just going to be a short overrun on the Big 5 itself. So let's start with openness. Now, openness tends to be the creativity part of us. Some people are way more creative than others. There's a propensity for them to be more free-spirited. Those that measure low in openness tend to be more conservative, and I mean that with a little c, not as in politics necessarily, but conservative in nature. They like things to pretty much stay how they have been and how they used to be. Now, those that measure high in openness will have a tendency to put aside how things have been, which may, in this case, be an important facet during COVID-19. Because one of the things with openness is that if we are open to new experiences, that may mean that we're more open to the new world that may be emerging from COVID-19. Those of you that measure lower in openness may well find that you're highly resistant to the changes that will come into the environment around you. So have a think whether you think you're high in openness or low in openness. The next one is conscientiousness, which is an interesting one because it's one of the big predictors of long-term career success. Those that are high in conscientiousness tend to be really hard workers. There's a subtrait called industriousness. So if you put an industrious person in the middle of a forest with an axe, they'll tend to go around chopping down all of the trees, because to sit down and just not do anything is not one of the things that makes them feel comfortable. So industrious people are the busy workers. Now that can be very powerful, of course. You know, hard work is a good thing. However, you may also want to consider that actually people that are very high in conscientiousness are also very orderly. Now, right now during COVID-19, order has been disrupted. You may remember back to an earlier video that I've done around order and chaos, that yin and yang cycle that goes on. So those of us that are dialed high in conscientiousness will tend to be orderly and will tend to struggle more when periods of chaos are around us or periods of disruption. But if you're low in conscientiousness, which may seem a weird thing and undesirable, but there are some benefits to it. Leaders who are low in conscientiousness will have a tendency to look at the bigger picture rather than the detail. Now, right now, it's very difficult during COVID-19 to understand the detail. We don't know the detail. We don't have a plan to get out of this right now. What we might have is an emerging strategy. And so those of you that would measure lower on conscientiousness actually may have something to offer to bring to the fore right now. Maybe you're somewhat of a bigger picture person, and therefore you're not feeling so disrupted by the lack of order that exists around us. But be aware that certain team members do have a need for order. So how can you bring that around for them? The next trait is extroversion. Now, those of you that have done, for example, Myers-Briggs know that they've got extroversion and introversion. Well, in the big five, it just measures high or low on extroversion. Those that are high on extroversion tend to be very enthusiastic and push a lot of energy out into the environment, particularly when they're interacting with others. But at high extroversion also comes with a trait of assertiveness. Now, at times, those can be really useful things. If you're enthusiastic and you're extrovert in nature, how can you use that, for example, on the virtual environment that we're at to bring energy into your meetings and bring energy to those that perhaps are feeling a little bit low? Those of you that measure lower in extroversion, or you may consider yourselves introvert, well, that may be an advantage for you and you may cope very, very well with that. But maybe you want to consider as well, how might I need to flex in order to push a little more energy out, particularly in a virtual environment? Because actually, as you probably noticed in virtual meetings, they tend to be a little bit flatter as regards the energy that is created. So extroverts or an introvert acting more as an extrovert can push more energy out. The fourth trait, agreeableness. Agreeableness may seem a virtue because it's linked to being polite. Politeness is about deference to authority and rules, and also it links to compassion. Now, there's some push and pulls here, because one of the things is to be agreeable, and that would include high in compassion, would mean that you can understand other people's situations well, and that you're caring and concerning for others. That could be really powerful for you right now. However, you might also want to consider that because if you're high in agreeableness, that will tend to include high in politeness. You may be over deferring to seniority and the hierarchy right now. Because one of the things is that seniority, those that are higher up in the chain of command, don't have all of the answers, which means they may be trying to instruct the organization and feel that because they're higher up in the hierarchy, they've got to instruct lower down in the hierarchy. So what I would offer for you to consider there is no one person, no matter where they are in seniority, has all the answers. So those of you that are high in agreeableness and often hold back from stating your truth, now may be the time to state your truth. Get out into the environment what you want, what you need. This may require you to grow some teeth in a way around this. Now, those that are low in agreeableness, that can be very powerful because people low in agreeableness tend to be very strong at standing up for themselves. But they also do have a difficulty often deferring to authority. Now, if you're low in agreeableness, one of the things to be aware of here is you're likely therefore to be fairly low in compassion. You're not going to likely to have a tendency to be looking out for others' needs. So if you think you may be low in agreeableness and therefore low in compassion as well, it might be a time just to consider, what can I do for others? How can I show compassion for my team? On to the fifth and final of the big five traits, trait neuroticism. I touched on it a little bit earlier. Has two sub-traits. One is called withdrawal, the other is volatility. Those that measure high in trait neuroticism tend to need stability and are therefore likely to be somewhat rocked by the current uncertainty around COVID-19. They're going to be people in the team who need to be settled down. You need to bring some stability to them so that their trait neuroticism can be lowered down and doesn't kick into play. But maybe you're a leader as well who measures relatively high in trait neuroticism. Maybe you do worry a lot. Maybe you are somewhat reactive and volatile. That's worth being aware of, because right now people need stability. They need to have consistency in the people that they're following, aka you as a leader. So if you have a tendency, one, to withdraw in the face of stress and anxiety, then you may want to consider getting out there a little bit more in the virtual environment and making sure you're connecting in with people. If you're also high in volatility, you may want to consider, I need some self-control right now. My team needs stability, so they don't need me flying from high and low negative and positive energy levels. So people may need more consistency from you. So that was a quick run through of the Big Five. If you are interested in understanding more around your Big Five, do get in touch. We have some resources available to help you understand that even more. But as we close out this video, I'm just going to leave you with some reflections to take away. After all, these are a form of coaching videos here. So first off, why not just sit down for a few minutes, get a cup of tea or coffee, and consider in what way right now is your personality helping you in your journey as a leader through COVID-19, and in what way is it hindering you? What are some of the risks that you need to be aware of your own personality? And then have a consideration, in what way do you need to flex? Remember earlier I said that our core personality tends to be stable over time, but we can flex our behavior, but we need motive to do so. So consider, what motive do you have right now to alter some of your behaviors to get the best out of your situations with the team? Your team may well need you to flex right now. So there's a little insight into personality. Do get in touch if you want to know more. There's going to be a sign up message somewhere on this video, and I'm going to see you in one of our future videos for leading through COVID-19. Many thanks. To receive our full suite of COVID-19 leadership videos, or to get in touch about how we can help you build your capability in project and change leadership, then please follow the details on the screen. We'd love to hear from you.